Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out of my house for telling my husband that he's so lucky to be rich? My husband lost both of his parents when he was 17. Their deaths were preventable and others died alongside them, and because of this a lawsuit followed. And at a young age, my husband found himself orphaned but wealthy. But I think we can all understand that this money wasn't some great thing that he celebrated because it came at a huge loss for him. His parents. We met a few years after he was awarded the money and we got married after dating for 4 years. We're now the proud parents to our 3 kids and we have a stable life. We're very comfortable, and if you know exactly how much my husband actually has. He's very smart with his money and not only invests but looks to our future and the future of each of our children. We both still work very hard, but the money means we are also very fortunate. My family, parents and sister is aware that my husband's parents have passed away. They also know about the lawsuit and that money was paid to the family members. They have no idea how much my husband has. Not my parents and definitely not my sister, but they know and were told how he'd give it all away to have his parents back, which is why I reacted strongly when my sister made the comment she did. We had my family over for dinner. My sister mentioned wanting to bring her boyfriend for any future dinners and everyone was talking about that. Then my sister mentioned wanting to go away with her boyfriend for the weekend and how they were saving up to go. She said it was a big step because they were also talking about moving in with each other. My husband mentioned we had gone to the place they were talking about going to and they'd have a great time. She said she hoped so, but she wouldn't have the same kind of money he does. He told her we did nothing fancy there, which is 100% true. My parents wanted to know when they were thinking of moving in together. Things were going fine. Then my sister out of nowhere said to my husband the least he could do was offer them the money for the weekend away since he could afford it. I shut her down and said she wasn't entitled to other people paying for her trips with her boyfriend. My sister responded that he could afford to send them for a month if he wanted to. My husband told her that was a big ask and she snapped at him and said he had no idea how lucky he was to be rich because she'd give anything to have that kind of money. The insensitivity of the comment enraged me and I told my sister she needed to leave. I made sure to get her ass out that door too because I wasn't tolerating that BS. My sister has told me almost every day since that I overreacted and throwing her out was over the top. I told her I don't want to hear anything but a sincere apology from her to my husband, and until that point she can stay out of my house. My husband said I didn't need to stand by that and he didn't want to come between us. I told him he wasn't coming between us. She was. I was just thinking that comment is downright cruel and vicious when you consider my husband had to be orphaned to get that money. Am I the a-hole for my actions and am I being too harsh here?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. Must be nice being rich. Must be nice having loving parents that care about you and are there for you. Everyone that I know that's got a large windfall because of an inheritance or insurance would rather have the person than the money.
Absolutely not the a-hole. Your sister is basically having a death wish for your parents for that kind of money is despicable.
Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to reconsider our relationship because of my niece? My 30M brother 36M has 3 kids, 12F, 3M, 3N. 12F has been my little pal pretty much since the beginning. I was there when she was born, and I spent that first year in and out of my brother's place, doing chores and watching the baby when he and his wife needed a break. That was how my uncle and aunt were when my brother and I were born, and I wanted to continue the tradition. When she was about a year old, this developed into a consistent schedule where I would take her one day of the week, and her parents would get a day to themselves. This is still going. I currently pick her up from school on Friday and she stays with me Friday night and all of Saturday. She's been especially happy with this arrangement since her brothers were born, and now she gets a break from my pretty crazy nephews once a week. Here's where the problem starts. I have a girlfriend, 31F, who I've been seeing for a year. We recently moved in together. She's pretty staunchly child-free, which is fine by me, as I don't want kids, but she's always seemed alright around my niece and kids in general. She has, however, started to take issue with my niece staying over every week since she moved in, and our relationship in general. She's started making comments about how my niece is an adult who can watch herself. I love the kid, but I watched her lick a glue stick last week. She's still got a ways to go. She also told me to stop falling asleep with my niece on the couch, something we do every now and then by accident while watching a movie, because it's weird. She's started scheduling random things on Saturday, saying that we're free, and getting pissed at me when I won't go because the kid and I have had something else planned for a week. Things finally kind of blew up when she asked if we could just have her Friday night instead of all Saturday too. I said she knew it was part of my life when she moved in with me. She said it was weird I wanted to spend so much time with an almost teenage girl anyway. The undertone there kind of pissed me off. I've had actual issues with people and security before because my niece and I look so different. I raised my voice, told her that I'm sorry she isn't close with her family, but I am. And if that's not important to her too, then maybe we should reconsider things. She hasn't spoken with me since, and has been going out of her way to avoid me. I'm wondering now if maybe I should have listened to her more instead of jumping straight into a more defensive response. I feel like for yelling at her. I'm also still pissed about what she said though, and I don't think I'm willing to compromise on my niece unless my niece herself or my brother wants something to change. So am I the a-hole for wanting to reconsider my relationship with my girlfriend after she implied something egregious?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. She knew this was a part of your life, and it sounds like she assumed that once she moved in she would be able to exert a little of her power to make you change these plans. Additionally, it sounds like she's using some dirty tactics to try and convince you that your close relationship with your niece is a problem. It's very manipulative, and that's not going to get better.
Not the a-hole, but does the every weekend thing mean you and your GF aren't doing anything together on the weekends? I can kind of see where she'd be upset if you guys never get to take weekend trips and that kind of thing because you're essentially a parent on the weekends.
Am I the a-hole for ruining a child's life? Today, I started talking to an American mother while in accident and emergency. Her child was interested in the artwork I have on my leather jacket as it's pretty colorful. The mother mentioned that her daughter's name was Grain, so I assumed for a while that she was another mother who wanted something special to call her child. I remarked that it was a unique name and that I'd never met anyone called Grain before. She told me that she's named after her great-grandmother and that it's an Irish name. At this point, the alarm bells are ringing in my head because I've realized that the kid is called Grania, generally pronounced as Gronya, or thereabouts. I tried to be very tactful, and I was like, Irish has such an interesting alphabet. How is her name spelled? Irish names can be tricky. The kid is called Grania, not Grain. My partner, who has studied Ireland's political history as part of their dissertation, and also the Irish diaspora and its culture around their university city, is stuck somewhere between stifling a laugh and dying of embarrassment on her behalf, so I came up with what I thought was a very positive reply. I said, an old school name and a more modern pronunciation. I think that's a great way to pick names. I would like to point out that I do not like the name Grain for a child, nor do I like the way the pronunciation was butchered, but I was trying to be tactful and positive. She asked what I meant, and I said, well, in Ireland, they typically pronounce it like Gronya. Her face went red and said that I shouldn't have said that the pronunciation was wrong in front of the kid because now she's going to grow up knowing that her name is wrong and feel bad about it. I apologize for causing offense and restate that it's a lovely name in both ways and a fantastic nod to her heritage. I said that I'm sure her great-grandmother would be thrilled to be honored by her name being used. I was throwing out just about every positive reinforcement that I could think of, but, to be frank, she was pissed off. She told me that I ruined her daughter's self-esteem and that her life was ruined by me saying that her existence is wrong. I didn't say that, by the way. I said that her name was pronounced atypically. Grania, for context, was around 2 years old and completely unbothered by the conversation until her mother got angry at me. She was just looking at the pictures on my jacket. The conversation was maybe 5 minutes long, but I managed to ruin this kid's life. Hindsight says I should have kept my mouth shut and waited for somebody else in this city to say something. So, am I the a-hole?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole kid couldn't care less if it tried and mother for 2 years never bothered to find out how it sounds in Gaelic. Honestly, I get your husband who nearly bursted laughing.
I really wish people would stop giving their kids Irish names that the parents have no idea how to pronounce or, in some cases, what the name means.
Not the a-hole. Don't give your child a name that you don't know how to pronounce.